check this out. Week 18 of the 2023 NFL season. Bills vs. Dolphins. 8:41 left in the fourth quarter. Tie game, 14-14. A division title and home field advantage in the playoffs are on the line. All eyes are on $96 million man Stephon Diggs, but it's fifth round pick out of Boise State Khalil Shakir who breaks free for 32 yards. Moments later, Dawson Knox, another late round gem, finds the end zone, putting the Bills ahead. This moment wasn't luck, it was years in the making, and it's the blueprint for building a championship roster. Now that we've seen how one game can highlight years of planning, let's take a step back. If you're an NFL fan, you've probably asked yourself one of these questions before. Why do teams like the Chiefs, Ravens, and Bills dominate year after year? How do they continue to be dominant even when their best players get injured or leave in free agency? And what's holding my favorite team back from doing the same? Well, lucky for you, I have all of these answers. I spent a few weeks analyzing every Super Bowl team from the last 5 years, breaking down over 500 draft picks and comparing the success of different team building strategies. Today, I'll show you the 3 keys that separate championship franchises from everybody else. And you might be surprised by what I find. First, let's talk about playing the long game. When your favorite team drafts, are they thinking about a quick fix or building for sustained success? As a Dolphins fan, I've seen my team repeatedly chase short-term solutions while neglecting foundational areas like offense and defensive line. It's an incredibly frustrating cycle that's all too common across the NFL. Now consider this. Over the last 5 Super Bowls, 8 of the 10 teams had quarterbacks that they drafted leading them. And in this most recent Super Bowl, the Chiefs built a championship roster with 61% of their roster being homegrown players that they drafted. And the Niners had 14 of their 22 starters come from their own draft picks. What sets these teams apart is their ability to look beyond immediate needs. For instance, the Bills, they drafted James Cook even though they already had a pretty good running back in Devin Singletary. And the Chiefs, they took Patrick Mahomes while Alex Smith was still having an incredibly good career. These weren't panicked picks to fill up a hole for now to try and win now. They were strategic moves in preparation for trying to win in the future. Look at the Packers. Although we just watched them absolutely shit the bed last afternoon, Jordan Love throwing like 3 interceptions, the Packers still had the right idea. Drafting Jordan Love while Aaron Rodgers was playing at an MVP level, it angered a lot of the fans.
The anticipation builds.
Oh no.
Read his lips.
I'm trying my best.
Oh no.
Jordan Love, quarterback, Utah State.
Oh no. Oh no.
But in hindsight, if they would have not drafted Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers still would have left, and the Packers might have been in a 20-year-long drought of finding a good quarterback. The organization understood the importance of planning ahead. That's what keeps great teams at the top. And it's not just about quarterbacks. Look at the Ravens, for example. All 5 of their starting offensive linemen were drafted by them. Ronnie Stanley, Patrick McCarry, Tyler Linderbaum, Daniel Falele, and Roger Rosengarten. Now they're all contributing to one of the most dominant rushing attacks in the NFL, blocking for the 2 best runners in the NFL, Lamar and Derrick Henry. Depth may not grab headlines, but it's what separates championship teams from everybody else. So ask yourself, how does your team draft? Are they building for the future or just scrambling to survive right now? Let me know what your answer is in the comment section. Once a team establishes their long-term vision, the second key comes into play: patience over panic. This is the difference between sticking to a well-thought-out plan and abandoning it after the first sign of trouble. Now think about what happens when a team takes shortcuts. Imagine your team trading away all of its future draft picks to win now. Well, as we all know, that's what the Rams did. They traded 6 first-round picks between the years 2018 and 2023. Now, sure, they won a Super Bowl, but what happened the next season after they won the Super Bowl? They went 5-12, and guess what? They didn't have the pick from going 5-12. They had no draft picks, no young talent, and no plan to recover coming off of that bad season. Thankfully for them, they got lucky and found Puka Nacua. Or think about the Broncos. 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and 3 players, all for Russell Wilson. In the 2 seasons he was on the team, they were a combined 13-21. People call it the worst trade in NFL history, even though I personally can think of a worse one. Now compare that to some of the best franchises in the NFL. When Josh Allen struggled as a rookie, completing just 52% of his passes, They didn't panic. They didn't bench him. They didn't throw him to the side while they put Nathan Peterman in to try and win a couple games. They worked on his mechanics and surrounded him with talent. When Patrick Mahomes sat behind Alex Smith for a year, the Chiefs didn't rush him. They gave him time to learn, and that patience paid off in the form of 3 Super Bowls. It's not just about quarterbacks like I've said before. Take Gabriel Davis. He didn't burst onto the scene as a star, but the Bills gave him time to grow behind Stephon Diggs, and now, even though he's not on the Bills anymore, he's still a pretty good player in the NFL. Or look at Rashee Rice. In his rookie season, the Chiefs didn't force him to take on a number 1 receiver role immediately. Through the first 10 weeks of his rookie year, he only had 420 receiving yards. But in his last 6 regular season games, he exploded for 518 yards. They allowed him to develop throughout the season, learn the playbook, understand his role, and then when they needed him most, they were able to rely on him. And now he's one of the best receivers in the NFL when he's actually on the field. These examples show how patience can turn promising players into game changers. With patience and a long-term vision in place, the third and final key is maximizing every round of the draft. This is where smart teams go beyond the obvious picks in the first round and find the gems later on in the draft. Imagine if your favorite team was able to find a superstar level talented player in the later rounds of the draft every season. Well, that's what the best teams in the NFL do. That's what separates the good teams from the great ones. Like I mentioned before, even though the Rams didn't have a first round pick the years following the Super Bowl, they were able to find value later on in the draft in the form of Puka Nacua, and the Ravens as well. Since 2018, more than half of their draft success has come after the second round. Mark Andrews, a 3rd round pick. Nnamdi Madubuike, a 3rd round pick. Both Pro Bowlers and some of the best at their positions right now. That's not luck. That's good strategy. Think about the Seahawks in 2012. I don't know how many of you guys watched that draft, but that's the year that they got Russell Wilson in the 3rd round and Bobby Wagner in the 2nd. They weren't incredibly flashy picks at the time, but they became the backbone of a Super Bowl winning team. Even late round players make a difference. The Patriots, perfect example. Mid-round picks like Julian Edelman and Rob Gronkowski turned into cornerstones of a dynasty. And of course, Tom Brady, 6th round pick, into the best quarterback of all time. By combining these 3 keys, the best teams in the NFL are consistently able to build championship caliber rosters. So the next time you see your team make a big trade or sign a big name free agent and you're all excited, ask yourself this: are they truly building for the future, or are they just chasing a quick win, a couple extra ticket sales? Championships aren't bought. They're built through patience, planning, and smart drafting. What do you think? Are splashy moves worth the risk, or is patience and drafting the only way to build a contender? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.